On Vikings, let's win this game.
The Minnesota Vikings have reached the decisive stage of training camp. A promising offensive player who generated excitement throughout the offseason is now in danger of being cut, while Justin Jefferson delivered the perfect response to the quarterback competition. One reporter now believes the Week 1 decision is becoming increasingly obvious, and the team's owner issued a warning Kevin O'Connell cannot ignore. The battle for roster spots is heating up. Dillon Bell looked like one of Minnesota's most promising undrafted discoveries during rookie minicamp and offseason practices. The former Georgia receiver consistently generated attention in the spring, giving Vikings fans a reason to believe he could become the latest overlooked prospect to force his way onto the roster. Less than 2 weeks into training camp, however, that excitement has been replaced by uncertainty. Bell has not necessarily performed badly, but he has become surprisingly quiet at the worst possible time. His biggest problem is not a major mistake or an injury. It is the number of other receivers who have stepped forward while he has struggled to recreate his spring momentum. Minnesota appears likely to carry 6 wide receivers. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and Jauan Jennings are firmly established as the top 3, leaving Bell to compete for one of the remaining spots. Ty Felton appears to have strengthened his position considerably. The Vikings invested a 3rd-round pick in him in 2025, and his improvement as a route runner has helped ease one of the biggest concerns from his rookie season. Miles Price has also made his case increasingly difficult to ignore. His ability to return punts and kickoffs already gave him a potential path to the roster, but he has now shown progress as a receiver as well. If Price can contribute in both areas, Minnesota would have a practical reason to reserve a spot for him. That may leave Bell fighting for the final opening against Dante Fleming and Jeshaun Jones. Fleming has emerged as a quick and dependable target, making contested catches and demonstrating effective route running. One of his most impressive moments came on a sharp out route that allowed J.J. McCarthy to find him near the sideline. Jones has also produced encouraging plays during team and red zone periods. Based on the early camp trend, Bell may currently be behind both players. That situation can still change, because the preseason will provide him with meaningful opportunities to remind the coaching staff why he stood out during the spring. But reputations from offseason workouts will not protect anyone when Minnesota makes its final decisions. Bell must start creating separation, finishing plays, and proving that he offers something the other receivers cannot. Otherwise, one of the most exciting undrafted additions from the spring could become one of the Vikings' earliest and most surprising roster cuts. While the competition among Minnesota's receivers is becoming increasingly personal, Justin Jefferson has refused to make the quarterback battle about himself. That decision may seem simple, but it demonstrates exactly why Jefferson has become more than an elite pass catcher. Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy are competing for the opportunity to lead the offense, and both quarterbacks need to develop timing and trust with the team's most important weapon. Jefferson could easily influence the public conversation by identifying a preference, but doing so would create unnecessary problems. When asked about the competition, he explained that he loves what it can bring out of players. Jefferson believes a genuine battle reveals who arrives every day with the right mentality and who can consistently respond under pressure. More importantly, he said he is focused on building connections with both quarterbacks until Minnesota names a starter. That is the smartest possible approach. Supporting one quarterback publicly could divide the locker room, intensify media speculation, and create a lasting narrative if the other player wins the job. Every missed throw or offensive struggle would then be interpreted as evidence that Jefferson preferred someone else. Instead, he has placed the responsibility where it belongs. According to the Vikings star receiver, the decision should be based on who makes plays, provides vocal leadership, remains dependable during difficult moments, and performs consistently. Whoever proves capable of meeting those standards will have Jefferson's support. That response protects both quarterbacks while allowing Kevin O'Connell to evaluate the competition without an unnecessary controversy surrounding his best offensive player. It also protects Jefferson himself. He understands that his responsibility is to prepare for either outcome rather than use his status to shape the decision. Minnesota needs him to establish chemistry with Murray, who is learning a new offense, and McCarthy, who is trying to prove that his development remains on schedule. Jefferson's team-first mentality has been one of the most consistent parts of his Vikings career. Despite his production, recognition, and importance to the franchise, he has avoided turning his statistics or contract status into a distraction. Plenty of superstar receivers have created tension when they are unhappy with their quarterback situation or the number of targets they receive. Jefferson has chosen a different path. He is demanding leadership and consistency from the quarterbacks, while holding himself responsible for working with both of them. When O'Connell finally announces the winner, Minnesota's WR1 intends to be prepared, not surprised, divided, or frustrated. Quick message: subscribe to the channel. It's free and goes a long way toward helping this community grow. Jefferson remains neutral. One Vikings reporter believes the quarterback competition is moving toward a much clearer conclusion. Will Ragatz said he would be stunned if Kyler Murray is not Minnesota's starter in Week 1 against the Green Bay Packers. That does not mean Kevin O'Connell has made a decision, and it does not eliminate J.J. McCarthy from the competition. It does, however, reflect the growing expectation that Murray entered camp with a legitimate advantage. The Vikings signed him after his release from Arizona because they needed a proven alternative following McCarthy's uneven 2025 season. Injuries prevented the young quarterback from establishing rhythm, and his inconsistency raised questions about whether Minnesota could confidently hand him the offense again without another option. Benching McCarthy after only one season as the starter would still be a difficult decision. The Vikings selected him with the 10th overall pick in 2024 and invested significant time in his development. Moving him behind a veteran would force the organization to acknowledge that its original timeline has changed. But Minnesota also signed Murray to compete, not simply to provide emergency depth. If the coaching staff believes he gives the team the strongest opportunity to win immediately, draft position and previous expectations cannot determine the result. Murray's resume explains why so many observers view him as the favorite. Across 7 NFL seasons and 87 games, he has completed 67.1% of his passes for 20,460 yards, 121 touchdowns, and 60 interceptions. His mobility has added another 3,193 rushing yards and 32 touchdowns. Injuries have interrupted his career and prevented him from consistently reaching the superstar expectations that followed him as the first overall pick in 2019, but he remains only 28 years old. Minnesota offers him one of the strongest supporting casts he has ever had. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and Joanne Jennings give the offense 3 dangerous receiving options. Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason provide support in the running game, while T.J. Hawkinson gives the quarterback an established target in the middle of the field. The unanswered question is whether Murray can master enough of O'Connell's offense to convert his talent and experience into consistent production. McCarthy's familiarity with the system remains a genuine advantage, and preseason performance could still change the direction of the competition. Nevertheless, Ragatz's prediction captures the reality surrounding the battle. Murray now appears to be the frontrunner. McCarthy still has an opportunity, but he may need to do more than play well. He may have to produce something undeniable to prevent the veteran from leading Minnesota onto the field in Green Bay. Pressure surrounding this season extends far beyond the quarterback competition. Vikings co-owner and president Mark Wilf has made it clear that the organization's patience cannot last forever. Speaking with reporters, Wilf expressed confidence in the direction of the franchise and explained that ownership understands the value of remaining patient. But he also delivered the sentence that changes the temperature around Kevin O'Connell. Patience is not infinite. That is not an announcement that O'Connell is on the hot seat, especially considering that his contract runs through the 2029 season. It is a reminder that regular season success eventually must produce something meaningful in January. Minnesota has not won a playoff game since defeating the New Orleans Saints 26-20 overtime on the 5th of January 2020. O'Connell's first postseason opportunity came after a 13-4 campaign in 2022. The Vikings entered the playoffs as the 3rd seed and hosted the New York Giants, only to suffer a disappointing 31-24 defeat. 2 years later, Minnesota finished 14-3, and O'Connell earned the Associated Press Coach of the Year award. That season also ended painfully, with the Los Angeles Rams defeating the Vikings 27-9 the opening round. In 2025, Minnesota started 4-8 before winning 5 consecutive games to finish 9-8. The late rally demonstrated resilience, but it was not enough to secure a wild card berth. Those results leave O'Connell in an unusual position. His .632 regular season winning percentage is the best in franchise history, and he has created stability during a period of major roster and quarterback changes. At the same time, the Vikings have no playoff victories under his leadership. Wilf's comments recognize both realities. Ownership still believes in the foundation O'Connell has established, but another respectable regular season followed by January disappointment will not satisfy a franchise with postseason expectations. The roster has enough talent to compete, and the Vikings have continued investing in players capable of helping them win now. Whether Murray or McCarthy becomes the starter, O'Connell will be expected to build a functional offense around that quarterback and guide Minnesota back into the playoffs. The standard is no longer simply remaining competitive or recovering from adversity. The next benchmark is winning when the pressure is highest. O'Connell has earned patience through his regular season record, leadership, and long-term extension. Now he must demonstrate that the Vikings can transform that stability into postseason success. Minnesota is facing meaningful decisions at every level of the organization. Dillon Bell must rediscover his spring form before other receivers push him off the roster. Justin Jefferson is handling the quarterback competition like a true franchise leader, even as the expectation grows that Kyler Murray will defeat J.J. McCarthy for the starting job. Above them all, Mark Wilf has reminded Kevin O'Connell that patience eventually requires playoff results. Which development will have the greatest impact on the Vikings season? Leave your opinion in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us for the next update. Stay tuned. Skol Vikings, let's go!